There's a certain polarizing Cowboys coach that may leave if Mike McCarthy stays in Dallas. That's right, welcome to the Big D Breakdown. I'm your host, Larry Lakes, and today we're diving into the latest headlines from around AT&T Field. But first, give us your thoughts in the comment section below. And with that, on to our first topic about that certain polarizing coach. The Dallas Cowboys have taken over as the NFL's laughingstock as Jerry Jones continues to dig his heels in regarding Mike McCarthy's future. There are now 6 NFL head coach openings, while teams like the Giants, Dolphins, and Colts all announced the returns of their respective head coaches and general managers. Many teams have started the interview process, while others, who just recently announced firings, have finalized a list of candidates. To make matters more embarrassing, the Cowboys only just got back to the Chicago Bears, who requested to speak with McCarthy regarding their head coach vacancy. Dallas denied the Bears' request, so they seemingly want to keep McCarthy. Though McCarthy wants to come back, this development gives him some leverage. Hopefully, Dallas uses this window of exclusivity to hammer out a deal with McCarthy. Whatever they decide will have a trickle-down effect on the rest of the coaching staff, the entirety of which is also on an expiring contract. While Jones holds all the staff hostage, NFL insider Jane Slater has a good idea who might leave if McCarthy returns. Appearing on an NFL network, Slater said it's very likely McCarthy is back, but noted that the staff around him could look very different. Thanks to Micah Parsons, we already know that defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer might contemplate retirement. However, Slater understands that offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer might want to spread his proverbial wings. Schottenheimer has been the offensive coordinator the last 2 seasons. The hire left a lot to be desired, but it has been McCarthy calling plays, not Schottenheimer, since Kellen Moore was let go after the 2022 season. Simply put, the Cowboys can do a lot better than Schottenheimer as their offensive coordinator. While Mike McCarthy has been the play caller, Dallas needs to hire a more innovative mind. Schottenheimer has been an OC at every stop in his career, with the Jets, Rams, Seahawks, and now Dallas, respectively. He has 14 years of experience in the role and has never had a top 5 offense in terms of total points. His offense has ranked outside the top 15 in terms of total yards in 11 of those seasons. The offense improving in 2025 will fall on McCarthy first and foremost, if he's back, to improve his play calling, but Schottenheimer leaving would be a blessing in disguise. The veteran coach did not make the situation any better. Let me know, is there anybody specifically that you think should be Dallas's new OC? Let me know. And now we're going to take a look at the possibility that the Cowboys could lose a dream Mike Zimmer replacement thanks to Jerry Jones' stubbornness. If you're listening to this or watching it, it is now Wednesday morning, and the Dallas Cowboys still have not made a decision on head coach Mike McCarthy. Hey, Cowboys Nation, if you bleed navy and silver, it's time to step up your fan game with Fanatics, the ultimate destination for officially licensed Dallas Cowboys merch. Now I'm talking everything. Timeless jerseys of legends like Emmitt Smith and Tony Romo, and the latest threads for stars like Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons. But that's not all. You want hoodies? They've got them. Perfect for those chilly Sunday tailgates at AT&T Stadium. Looking for hats, collectibles, or even custom jerseys with your own name and number? Fanatics has you covered with a massive selection you won't find anywhere else. Because real fans don't just show up on game day, they live Cowboys football all week long. When you're in the stands or streaming from home, make sure you're sporting the freshest gear on the planet. Head on over to Fanatics, a link in the description, and stock up on all your Cowboys essentials. Trust me, once you gear up at Fanatics, you'll be turning heads wherever you go. Because here in Cowboys Nation, we don't just watch the game, we own it. Fanatics, where sports fans shop. And now back to the rest of the Dallas Cowboy headlines. You're reading this. It is now Thursday evening, and the Dallas Cowboys still have not made a decision on head coach Mike McCarthy. The Chicago Bears have requested to interview McCarthy for their own head coach opening, and surprisingly, it took Jones over 24 hours to get back to Chicago, denying the request. So it seems as though the team wants McCarthy back. While McCarthy is the two-tone elephant in the room, Jones also has to make a decision on the entire coaching staff, all of which is on an expiring contract. That includes defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer, who really found his footing as the season went on along. Cowboys fans universally want Zimmer back, but Micah Parsons made it sound like after Sunday's finale that Zimmer might not want to come back. Zimmer admitted that his return to coaching hasn't been easy. Parsons thinks Zimmer may ride off into the sunset, as to imply he might retire. This is part of the issue with Jones hitting the pause button on Dallas' offseason. Even if McCarthy returns, Jones may have to replace other assistants. Teams with vacancies have already started the interview process. It is too early to know whom the Cowboys would circle as their ideal Zimmer replacement, if he leaves. But many fans have pointed to former Jets head coach and longtime 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. Well, Saleh is on the short list of head coach candidates for the Jaguars, who fired Doug Peterson on Monday following a 4-13 season. Jacksonville has a competitive list that includes Lions coordinators Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, as well as old friend Kellen Moore. Saleh is far from a shoo-in to get the job, but he was an assistant with Jacksonville from 2014 to 2016 before he became the 49ers defensive coordinator. And there is a lot of love for him in the Jaguars building. After a failed Jets tenure, he would be best served presiding over defense in 2025 rather than jumping back into head coaching. The Bengals are a possible landing spot, but the Cowboys would be the most attractive destination if Zimmer leaves. Even though the Jets couldn't help but lose under him, they flaunted an elite defense throughout his coaching tenure. He's one of the best defensive minds in the sport, and he's a great motivator. You couldn't name a better replacement for Zimmer, but again, the Cowboys might not even get the chance to interview him if they remain in limbo. And now on to our next topic. The Cowboys' Micah Parsons wastes no time recruiting a superstar receiver who wants a trade. This line is spoken and Jerry Jones should listen. While Micah Parsons is a megastar on the football field, it's his obsession with winning and bitter hatred for losing that makes him even more valuable to the Cowboys. Parsons said after Sunday's season finale that he wants to meet with Jones to discuss the direction of the franchise and ways the team can get better. Furthermore, Parsons wants to get his contract extension done as soon as possible so Dallas can be active in free agency, both in terms of re-signing key players and adding external talent. That is exactly what Cowboy fans want to hear. Mike Zimmer challenged Parsons during the season to become more of a leader. It is clear that Parsons took that to heart as he improved leaps and bounds in that department. While Parsons is already on a Hall of Fame trajectory after 4 years, he knows his legacy will be defined by playoff success. Ever hungry for Dallas to add more big-time players, Parsons is already putting his recruiting chops to the test. Micah Parsons is already recruiting star receiver Tyreek Hill to the Cowboys. Tyreek Hill sounded off after the Dolphins missed the playoffs. The 8-time Pro Bowler apparently removed himself from Sunday's finale when he realized Miami's hopes were dead and outright stayed in after the loss, and he doesn't want to be back with the team. It sure sounds like Hill wants out. The Cowboys will be among the betting favorites to land Hill because this is how the cookie crumbles. We normally would be against trading for a 30-year-old receiver whose game is built on speed. However, Hill has not lost a step. While he posted his worst number since 2019 this year, quarterback Tua was in and out of the lineup all season. The speedster still caught 81 passes for 959 yards and 6 touchdowns. Cowboys' need for a number 2 receiver is well documented. Jake Ferguson proved he can't be trusted as a number 2 option in an offense. Jalen Tolbert is too inconsistent to be anything more than a number 3. Both Prescott and Lamb need a lot more support, and Hill is still elite. Hill has even called Prescott a top 5 quarterback before it stands to reason he'd be open to the move. The only kicker is Hill's contract. He'll account for a $27.7 million cap hit next season. That number skyrockets to $51.8 million in 2026. The front office could play around with those figures, but they can absolutely afford Hill. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Jerry and Steven might ultimately be too cheap to pay the draft capital required to acquire Hill on top of his contract. Hopefully Parsons can talk some sense into the team's cheap brain trust, though, because Hill would be a fantastic addition. And now on to our next topic. Ezekiel Elliott has landed with the best possible team after the Cowboys release. Jerry Jones caused so much buzz, not the good kind, around the Cowboys by dragging his feet with McCarthy, and Ezekiel Elliott's release feels like it happened 2 months ago. Just before the Cowboys season finale, Elliott requested his release from the team, hoping to sign with a playoff-bound team to compete for a Super Bowl. Not only has Elliott never been to the NFC Championship game and his career is winding down, but his role with Dallas had fizzled out. It's easy to understand why Zeke wanted out. Out of his respect for his legacy with the franchise, Jones is granted his release. You can believe it, Elliott will have a role in the NFL playoffs after all, after he signed to the LA Chargers practice squad. The Chargers are the perfect landing spot for Elliott. He should have plenty of familiarity with head coach Jim Harbaugh, who was the coach of Michigan while Elliott was at Ohio State. The Wolverines and Buckeyes formed the greatest rivalry in college football. Harbaugh loves to play smash-mouth football, and that is Elliott's calling card. If there is any coach that can squeeze out what's left in Zeke's tank, it's Harbaugh. The Chargers have an opening for a backup running back as veteran Gus Edwards is dealing with an ankle injury. Starting rusher J.K. Dobbins only just returned from injured reserve too. While Dobbins looked healthy in Week 18, his injury history is well documented. Backing up Dobbins and Greg Roman's run-heavy offense is the perfect role for the 29-year-old Elliott. Elliott will start on the practice squad, but the Chargers are hopeful he picks up the playbook in a timely manner. They seemingly would like to activate Zeke for Saturday's wildcard matchup against the Texans. It would be quite the turn of events if Elliott morphs into a key player for Harbaugh. Regardless, though, it was never going to work out in Dallas. Most of the fan base did not want him back to begin with, and the team shoehorned him in the offense when it was painfully obvious Rico Dowdle deserved to carry the load. Sure enough, Dowdle eclipsed the 1,000-yard milestone, averaged 95.1 yards per game from Week 7. Elliott, meanwhile, averaged a league-worst 3.1 yards per carry to go with just 5 missed tackles. And a 59.6 rushing grade via PFF. Between his habitual tardiness and missing multiple team meetings, Elliott did not cover himself in glory this season. However, the reunion never should have happened in the first place. He's still a Cowboys icon and will be pulling for the Chargers, so Zeke gets a ring before he retires. And now on to our next topic. Jerry Jones' plans for the Cowboys head coach are a slap in the face to Mike McCarthy. Most teams with head coach and general manager vacancies have moved to the second stage of their hiring cycle. The Dallas Cowboys, though, still haven't initiated phase 1, even though they were eliminated from playoff contention almost a month ago. The general feeling is that Mike McCarthy will be back. Buck doesn't end there. The entire coaching staff, including defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer and assistant head coach Al Harris, are on expiring deals. As of this episode, like we mentioned, Patriots, Giants, Jaguars, Colts, and Dolphins have already announced their plans for their respective head coaches and general managers. Other teams like the Jets and Bears that fired their coaches months in advance have requested several interviews. Everything about the Cowboys process is backwards. Jerry Jones doesn't want McCarthy back. He's falling behind the pace as far as interviewing candidates. If Jones wants McCarthy back, the two sides need to work out a contract, which won't be smooth sailing. Negotiating with the Joneses is never easy, but Jerry has set a patently absurd benchmark for whomever is coaching Dallas in 2025. Most of the fans want everybody to be on the incentive plan, Jones told reporters after Sunday's loss. Everybody wants it to be on the incentive plan, so the more you can have the incentive plan to me, the better. You got the way sports is aligned with the goal of having accomplishment, and you align that with the financial end of it. For instance, I might say, look, I'm going to pay you this much, but then I'll pay you not anymore, and I know you want twice that, but if you get to the playoffs or you win a Super Bowl, I'll give you 5 times that. That quote is exactly why the Cowboys are not considered a serious landing spot for the Ben Johnsons of the world. For starters, Jones should probably take into account what actual NFL general managers feel about incentive-based contracts, not fans. That alone is alarming. Jane Slater pushed back on Jones, saying that is not how the coaching market works. Jones predictably fired back that he doesn't want anyone who doesn't want to be here. Jones wanting the Cowboys coach to be on an incentive-based contract is insulting. While there is nothing wrong with including a playoff in the Super Bowl incentive, cutting the coach's salary in half to do so is absolutely ridiculous. That would make the incentives the main appeal of the contract, which, as Slater noted, is not how the coaching market operates. There are only 32 head coach jobs in the league, and we are talking about the most valuable organization in professional sports. And yet Jones is treating the Cowboys like an entry-level position. He is cheap and a lost cause. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. The Cowboys do move on from McCarthy. Don't expect Johnson or any of the top candidates in this year's hiring cycle to have any interest in the job. Let me know your thoughts on the topics we covered. Is there anything we missed? Anything we should have covered? Let me know. Give us a thumbs up if you like your video. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the bell notification button to be notified of future videos. Of course, if you want to support the channel, buy us a copy at buymeacoffee.com/thebigd. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.